Okay, now let's get into the sermon. Right. The story of Jonah is one really funny story, if you ask me. God says to Jonah, I want you to go to Nineveh. Jonah decides, I don't want to go to Nineveh. I want to go to Tarshish. You know, some of these stories, when you practicalize them, and then you'll realize the Bible is really fun. Now, when you're reading it from a spiritual mind, it's okay, you are swallowed by a fish. 3 days survived in the belly of a fish. As if, when you try to practicalize it, I sometimes try to think of it from the perspective of Jonah's wife. Ne? So Jonah says to the wife, so honey, I'm going to Tarshish. I'll be back. I'm just going to Tarshish. That's a correct pronunciation. Eh? Yeah, Tarshish. It's like I'm going to Tarshish. And then on the way, obviously, we all know what happened. On the way to Tarshish, the ship meets a storm, and then they have to throw him overboard. He's swallowed by the fish. The fish spits him out at Nineveh, and then he does what was originally supposed to do. And then Jonah's wife is probably there sitting. My husband is in Tarshish. Then she hears rumors. Jonah was spotted in Nineveh. And you know the other agenda, when they find a loophole, they're like, yeah. When he comes back, I want to hear the explanation this time. And when Jonah comes back, he's like, so, okay, Jonah, explain to me. You said you're going to Tarshish, but rumors were you were in Nineveh. And then this is the first explanation. So God said I must go to Nineveh. I decided I want to go to Tarshish. Number one, Jonah. God said you must go to Nineveh. Yes. You decided to go to Tarshish. Yes. Why? If you are sent to go to Nineveh and you don't want to go to Nineveh, sit down. What are you going to do in Tarshish? Like, seriously, what are you going to do in Tarshish? If you don't want to go to Nineveh, sit down, Jonah. Okay, let's say I believe you. And then what happened next? So, really funny story, ne? The ship met a storm. And then they started casting lots. They found out that I'm the reason for the storm. They threw me overboard. A fish swallowed me. I survived 3 days in the belly of a fish. It spit me out in Nineveh. Jonah's wife must have been perplexed. She must have been perplexed. Like, this doesn't make sense. Some of the stories of the Bible, when you read them, you need to practicalize them. There is one really funny verse we find with my friends. So this is Jesus speaking. Ne? This is Jesus speaking. He says to Thomas, you know the way. You know, this is Jesus speaking. Probably was speaking in bass and serious and all that. He is speaking to them. It's a serious conversation going on. And then he says, you know the way. And then Thomas says, no, we don't. It's there. It's in the Bible. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. I doubt that he was being sarcastic. But this is Jesus speaking like, no, we don't. Okay. Three points from the stories of Jonah, and then we can go, not go home. Listen to the rest of the presenters. Sorry. Three points. Jonah, on his way to Tarshish, the ship meets a storm. When the ship meets a storm, the people who are in the ship start throwing their possessions overboard. They have nothing to do with Jonah, but now they are suffering the consequences of Jonah. Okay, that's the second point. Hey, I'm getting carried away. First point, when God sends you to Nineveh, stop going to Tarshish. Let's bring it home. Stop being found at nightclubs when your presence is required in all-night prayers. Stop being found at Wednesday groups when your presence is required at the Wednesday prayer session. Stop being found at the malls and in the movies when your presence is required for the afternoon lesson. Stop going to Tarshish because your presence is required in Nineveh. Point number one. Point number two, when you are going to Tarshish, please do not recruit us to go with you. If you want to go to group, go by yourself. If you want to go to the mall on your Sabbath, go by yourself. Do not recruit us to go with you to Tarshish. Because this is the danger. This is where the danger is. This is where the danger is. When you take us with you to Tarshish, while you are sleeping in the basement in the boat, we'll be forced to throw our possessions overboard and suffer the consequences of your actions, suffering for things we do not do. Be careful of recruiting us to go with you to Tarshish, because we'll suffer consequences of things we did not do. Second point. Third point. The grace of God, after you messed up, is able to take you where you are to where you are supposed to be. You will realize something. The story was going to be very normal if after Jonah was swallowed by a fish, he perished. Because that's what science dictates. If a man is swallowed by a fish, he dies. But God uses a fish to swallow Jonah so that he can save Jonah and take Jonah where he is to where he is supposed to be. This is where we are landing it. Sometimes God will use unemployment, not so that your life cannot progress, but so that he can move you from where you are to where you are supposed to be. Sometimes God will allow you to be alone, not so that you can end up lonely, but so that he can take you from where you are to where you are supposed to be. Sometimes God will allow your marriages, allow us to speak to the parents now, to go through stuff, not so that it can end up in divorce, but so that he can take you where you are to where you are supposed to be. He will allow financial situations to come in your life so that he can take you where you are to where you are supposed to be. Under normal circumstances, when you are broke, you are supposed to be poor, but he will allow you to be broke so that he can take you where you are to where you are supposed to be. And I want you to realize something. Had Jonah decided to go to Nineveh in the very first place, he was going to avoid the fish experience. The longer we tarry in Tarshish, the bigger the fish. We are not ready for that one. But are you perplexed why things are happening the way they are happening in your life? Maybe it's God trying to move you from where you are to where you are supposed to be. And if you ask Jonah, he will tell you that our choice. Because if you remain in Tarshish, a fish, and you might not love the experience, but if you remain in Tarshish, a fish will come and carry you from where you are, and it will spit you out where you are supposed to be. Revelation 22 verse 21. May the grace of the Lord be with you all saints.